Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Pointless Top 10, a show where we make top 10 lists of the pointless things, where we fly by as pointless statue in Booty Bay, because inside pointless things are treasure. Let's begin. 10. Number 10 is Deadwind Pass, and I know a lot of people always talk about the Karazhan Crypts, and they're like, dude, Karazhan Crypts, the creepiest places ever, the Karazhan Crypts. I'm gonna tell you right now, they are not on this list. And that is because the Deadwind Pass, I think, is just really underrated. Like, the Deadwind Pass is genuinely really creepy. There's, like, big stone arches and bridges with a bunch of spiders on them. There's, like, weird dead people hanging from the trees. There's, like, campsites that just don't have anybody at them. Although I think this one has some quests tied into it because there's, like, people questing here and stuff like that. There's also this creepy church where it looks like 2 people are buried here. I don't know if there's any lore behind why these 2 people are here or if these are just, like, I don't know, caskets or something, but this is like genuinely a really creepy zone, and it's a really tiny zone. Obviously, Karazhan is here as well, but like the Deadwind Pass is genuinely a creepy zone. It's one of the smaller zones. There's not really much to do here outside of Karazhan and, you know, the Karazhan crypts and stuff, but it's creepy, and so I decided to put it on the list and give it the attention it deserves, and that's why the Deadwind Pass is number 10. 9. Number 9 is this farm in Drustvar where numerous pigs have been infected by some sort of fungal spell or disease or witchcraft. I don't know what it is, but it's genuinely pretty freaky. And it's one of the things where Drustvar has a lot of stuff that's creepy. Like, there's numerous places in Drustvar I could have put on this list, but there's just something about this one that just freaks me out, right? I don't know if it's just the pigs that are already dead and they just have like the plants and fungus and mushrooms growing out of them. So, I mean, there's numerous other places in World of Warcraft that has animals that have died or getting killed or like whatever, but this one just freaks me out. Granted, like just seeing mold and fungus growing on stuff tends to also kind of freak me out. It's just, I don't know, because it usually grows on like dead or old stuff, so maybe that's just some sort of visceral reaction to like, this is not good, like this is not safe, like your brain is like, get away from this thing, right? Like, I have no idea. And there's also these birds that are eating the pigs, but there is actually a pig that is okay. He's just running around having a good time, but I don't know if he realizes what's going on here, but he's got to get out of here, man. So that's why this area in Drustvar is number 9. 8. Number 8 is the Forgotten Shore located in Dragonblight. And this one's probably already known by a lot of people, but I do think it's worth putting on the list because I do think it is one of the creepiest areas in World of Warcraft, primarily because of the history here. So this is where Arthas was trying to hunt for Mal'Ganis and he couldn't find him, and then he gets an emissary from Lordaeron arriving and they're like, hey guys, you gotta go home. And Arthas is like, I am not going home. And so he hires these mercenaries to go burn the ships that take them home. But when him and his men get to the ships, he's like, look what these people did. They burned our ships. And the mercenaries are like, what? You told us to. And he's like, no, I didn't. These guys are crazy. And so they end up just killing all of these mercenaries. And so this is pretty much a lose-lose for everybody, right? Like the mercenaries get killed, and then the soldiers that aren't able to get home have to stay here with Arthas, and they're just stranded here, and they're looking for Mal'Ganis, and so they all pretty much get killed. And then that really just leaves us with this haunted, forgotten shore. And so it's really sad. I think it's just people kind of see this area and they've seen it so many times. There's like, yeah, you know, it's the Forgotten Shore, it's Arthas, but like really thinking about it, it is pretty messed up. And so that's why the Forgotten Shore is number 8. 7. Number 7 are the dead dragons located at the Blade's Edge Mountains and at the Obsidian Citadel. And obviously these aren't like your standard creepy areas, but I do think they are creepy in their own way. I always remember going through Blade's Edge Mountains and seeing all these dragons impaled on the big spikes and all these dragon bones all over, and I was like, why is this a thing? And so after looking into it, it appears that Deathwing pretty much brought a bunch of black dragons to Draenor, and then after the planet was destroyed and became Outland, all of the dragons stayed and were then hunted by Gruul and his sons and various other Gron, leading to them getting impaled. In fact, Netherwing drakes are just black dragon eggs that were infused with energies of the twisting nether and mutated. Meanwhile, at the Obsidian Citadel, they're just like literally butchering the dragons. Like they're hanging them up on chains, they're cutting them up, there's like dragon heads there. Like it's genuinely not something you would expect to see in World of Warcraft, especially in Dragonflight, where it's just kind of like, yeah, very whimsical and fun. And then you go to a place like this and you're like, oh, this is very much the opposite of that. And so, yeah, overall, these are both very creepy places to me, not in like the haunted house spooky type of way, but in the like unsettling type of way. And so that's why the Blade's Edge Mountains and the Obsidian Citadel dragon areas our number 7. 6. Number 6 is this creepy witch house located at the Fernwood Ridge in the Tiergard Sound. And I really like this area as a creepy area in World of Warcraft because it has a lot of the stereotypical creepy stuff you would expect out of a creepy type of house, right? It's got the painting with the eyes that follow you around, which honestly, I don't even think you need the eyes to follow you around for this to be a creepy painting. Just like her eyes open that wide, staring down at you is freaky enough. But then located inside of the house and outside of the house, there's just a bunch of skeletons in cages, and it seems that they're being used for sacrifices or something like that. There's also a cave out in the back with a bunch of bones in it, and then there's the actual witch who's standing out in front of the house and just like, hey, yes. I don't know, she's just standing there. I don't know what she's thinking about. And so yeah, it's really just the vibes that this place is giving off on top of all the little creepy features here and there, and I think it's just a really spooky haunted house type of thing located in World of Warcraft. I'm sure there's some quests and lore behind this place, but I was like, you know what? I don't even want to look into it. I think it's creepier just being like, dude, there's just some witch that lives up there that like sacrifices people to her gods or whatever. I have no idea, but that's why the Fernwood Ridge Witch House is number 6. 5. Number 5 is Caer Darrow, and Caer Darrow is an island and a ruined keep located on Darrowmere Lake in the Western Plaguelands. And so there's actually a ton of lore behind Caer Darrow, but the creepy parts really start with the Barav family. And so the Baravs were an extremely wealthy family in Lordaeron, owning land which comprised Caer Darrow, Brill, South Shore, and Tarren Mill. As we got closer to the Third War, the Aristocats became depressed, greedy, and rageful, and after decades of rule, in order to preserve their fortune and hold of the land well past their lifespan, the Baravs made a deal with the human mage Kel'Thuzad. And I'm sure if you've played World of Warcraft at pretty much any point, you probably know who Kel'Thuzad is. And because of all that, that's how Caer Darrow secretly became the school of necromancy called Scholomance. And there's actually a quest chain where you get a spectral essence trinket that allows you to see the spirits wandering the island of Caer Darrow. And so yeah, that was a very brief rundown of the history of Caer Darrow, but I think it's just really creepy because obviously there's a lot of unsettling history here on top of the fact that it's just this old abandoned fortress. Well, I mean, Scholomance is still here, but abandoned in the... You get what I'm saying. So either way, that's why Caer Darrow is number 5. 4. Number 4 are the Agamon Mills, and the Agamon Mills was a vast windmill network once controlled by the Agamon family in northern Tirisfal Glades. And so it says here that when the Scourge attacked Lordaeron, the Agamons decided to hold fast in their home and ordered their farmhands to remain on the property to defend it. This effort proved to be in vain, as the Agamons and their farmhands were massacred by the Scourge, and most of them arisen in their service. However, a select few were able to break away and instead became forsaken. In fact, in the Howling Fjord, the town of New Agamond is clearly named after the Agamons and their mills. But there's a few reasons that I put these on the list, one of which is the area itself is just really creepy, right? Like there's all this abandoned farm stuff and just ghosts and banshees floating around, and it is a very creepy area to just walk around or quest in. And then on top of that, I always remember seeing these windmills in the opening World of Warcraft cinematic. So I always remember seeing that warlock walking around, and he's literally in this area at the Agamon Mills. And so yeah, overall, very historic, very creepy, and that's why the Agamon Mills are number 4. 3. Number 3 is the Ice Spider Cave located in the Azure Span. And obviously the creepiness level of this place depends on your fear level of spiders, but I would say a lot of people are going to be freaked out about this place. Like you walk in here and then it is just numerous ice spiders just dangling from the ceiling. I would say for some people, this might be number 1. This probably is the creepiest place in the entirety of World of Warcraft. And one of the reasons I love doing these pointless top 10s is it allows me to add my own spin on, you know, top 10s that everybody's already done, right? There's plenty of videos out there like top 10 creepy places, scariest places in World of Warcraft. And it's always like the Karazhan Crypts, the Naxxramas, right? It's just like a lot of people know what to expect, but I try to go outside the box a little bit to find stuff that you're normally not going to find in those videos. Hence, like, you know, talking about the dead dragons and stuff like that. Now talking about this, you know, just things that can give you that creepy, unsettling vibe that's not necessarily just like some haunted area. And I think the Ice Spider Cave is the perfect example of that. Like, this is a place that you just go to, and it can be one of the scariest places in World of Warcraft. So that's why the Ice Spider Cave is number 3. 2. Number 2 is the Ravenhill Cemetery and the Dawning Wood Catacombs. And so the Dawning Wood Catacombs lie beneath the Ravenhill Cemetery in Duskwood. And so the Ravenhill Cemetery is the graveyard located near the town of Ravenhill. And I would say this cemetery provides some of the creepiest aesthetic in World of Warcraft. Like, a lot of people think of Duskwood when they think of creepy stuff in World of Warcraft. I'm saying this after just talking about being like, I go out of my way to find the unconventional stuff. But really, I still have to include some of the actual creepy stuff because it really is creepy. And just walking around here, there's a bunch of ghouls and spiders and grave robbers and a whole bunch of stuff that's trying to kill you. And then nearby, in the Dawning Wood Catacombs, there's like a whole bunch of ghouls and ghosts down there as well. And I actually just made pointless top 10 crypts in World of Warcraft, and I was curious, what's the difference between a catacomb and a crypt? And apparently a catacomb is a vast interconnected network of underground tunnels used as a cemetery, while a crypt is a smaller self-contained underground chamber typically located beneath a church or monastery. So there you go, you learned something today. But yeah, overall, I had to include some Duskwood stuff on this list because it really is one of the creepiest zones in World of Warcraft, and that's why the Ravenhill Cemetery and the Dawning Wood Catacombs are number 2. 1. And number 1 is the Imperial Chamber, otherwise known as the Lordaeron Throne Room. And I actually picked this place for a few reasons. One reason you probably won't expect, but if you don't know, this is where Arthas Menethil killed his father back in Warcraft 3, and ever since then, this place has pretty much been haunted by that memory. In fact, if you go here and turn up the volume, turn down the music and everything, you can actually hear the voices of Arthas's father going through his entire, like, what are you doing here, my son, before he gets killed. And so yeah, it's pretty creepy, it's a cool Easter egg, but the reason I put it at number 1, on top of all the stuff I just mentioned, is every year for Hallow's End, there's a giant pumpkin that just shows up in this room. And I don't know why it is, but I just think it's so funny that like all this terrible stuff happened here. They're like, this is where Prince Arthas killed his father, and it led to like all these terrible things. We had to go to Northrend. Like, why don't we just put a big pumpkin there? Right? Every year we'll just put a big pumpkin here where this horrific event went down. I don't know. Just the dichotomy of putting this big goofy pumpkin right where a tragic event happened is just kind of funny to me. So that's why the Lordaeron Throne Room is number 1. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of Pointless Top 10. If you want more top 10s, you can check out Crypts, since I mentioned that earlier in the video, or you could check out the creepiest things in World of Warcraft. Also, consider liking the video and telling me down in the comments section what your favorite creepiest area in World of Warcraft is. Okay? Okay. See ya.